Hi, I'm Scott Humphrey, CEO of the World Floor Covering Association, and this is Leadership Live. And this week on Leadership by the Letter, we moved to one of the more challenging letters. The letter is X, and the word is X-ray. And here's the definition I've created for you. A penetrating look at what is often not visible, allowing you to understand the overall health of an individual or an organization. Let me say it again. A penetrating look at what is often not visible, allowing you to understand the overall health of an individual or an organization. Many years ago, a friend of mine walked into the balcony where I was sitting in church, and his son was with him, and he had a cast on. I probably shared this with you before, but I walked up to him and I said, "Hey, what happened? What happened to his leg?" And he said, "Oh, he broke it weeks ago, but we just found out. We couldn't tell until we had it x-rayed." I'd seen him the week before. I knew he didn't have a cast on. I'd assumed something happened that week, but no, it had happened weeks before. But until they were able to look deeper, they didn't know what had really happened. I know a lot of people that need to take a deeper look at what's going on in their life and see if their life is invested in the things that really matter. So let me tell you three things I want you to take a penetrating look at in your own life, an x-ray, so to speak. First, I want you to take a penetrating look at yourself. The Bible says to love others as you love yourself. On an airplane, they tell you to put the mask on yourself before you put it on somebody else who might be traveling with you. There's a reason for that. If you aren't able to be of good health and mind, you can't help someone else. And if you don't truly like yourself, it's very difficult for you to like or even love others. An author was telling a story of going through Hong Kong, and he went by a tattoo parlor on a back road, and he saw all the things in the window that they did typical tattoos of, eagles, crossbones, whatever it might be. But he said there was one tattoo that really startled him. It said, "Born to lose." He was fascinated by that, and his curiosity got the best of him. He walked inside and he said, "Listen, I see all those on the window, but that born to lose, does anyone really pay to have that put on their body?" And he said, "Yeah, sometimes people do." And he wondered aloud, why would anyone have that permanently stamped on their body? And the tattoo artist said, "Before tattoo on body, tattoo in mind." They put on their body what they already believed about themselves. Listen, it's been said that you can check someone's checkbook and you'll see what they're really invested in. What is the investment that you're making in yourself? To improve your knowledge, to improve your health, to make sure you'll be around to have an impact on the next generation? Finally, let me ask you this question. I want you to ponder it. Is the real you visible to others? Is what other people see what you see in yourself? And the way to find out is to ask them for their impression of you. Secondly, take a penetrating look at relationships. Leonard Syme is a professor at UC Berkeley, and he did some research on the impact of social relationships. Here's what he found out. The more social relationships you have, the better your health and the lower your death rate. The fewer social relationships you have, the worse your health and the higher your death rate. He came to this statement: social ties are great preventative medicine. We need social interaction. Emperor Frederick did some research on his own. It's not a scientific experiment, but he wanted to find out what the natural language was of all humans. And so he hired some wet nurses, and as babies were born, he paid them not to speak a word, to take care of the kids, but never to speak to them. That way he assumed the first words that they speak would be in their native tongue, and we would find out if that is Hebrew, Greek, whatever it may be. And the wet nurses agreed to do this, and they did it for months until every infant died. That's right, they needed the social interaction to go forward, and they were getting none of that because there was nothing being spoken to them. The third thing I would tell you to take a penetrating look at is your legacy. It's the thing that will outlive you. Why are we so enamored with looking back? You all know people who are caught up in their high school or college days and can't outlive it. Many of them will say, "What if I had only?" But you cannot change the past. It does no good to hope for a better past. Jay Riffenberry spoke yesterday at a conference I was at in Atlanta and made that statement. I found it somewhat haunting. It does no good to hope for a better past. What are you doing today to show your investment in the next generation and to leave the world a better place? Coach Bill Napier was the coach of a local high school team, Murray County High School. He was a dear friend of mine. I served as chaplain for the football team for many years while he was there. He unfortunately came down with ALS and only lasted a few years. But in the years between when he was diagnosed and when he died, he did not quit living. He made an investment in his legacy by investing in other people. In fact, he has 3 sons today who are coaches, 2 at the high school level and 1 the coach of the Florida Gators. But he invested more in them as people. I was one of a few men, probably hundreds, I don't know, that were given a daily devotional from Coach Napier where he poured into us the thing that he thought was most important in his dying days. And that devotional went out until the day he died. He was an amazing, amazing man. And you can be an amazing person by making an investment in the next generation. Take a penetrating look at yourself, at your relationships, and yes, at your legacy. And then go out there and lead.